All right. What you should see now on your screen is the slide that says a brief summary on how to handle balancing. Remember, we started out talking about auctions that threaten to die at a very low level. Sometimes it's one of a suit, pass, and there you sit in the pass out seat, and you don't want to sell out to a low level contract. I mean, it's very hard to defeat a one level bid. So you really don't, you want to bid, but maybe you don't have a full opening hand. Well, you can borrow about 3 points or borrow a king from your partner's hand. And if you have the right kind of hand with stoppers in the opener's suit, you can bid one no trump with 11 to 14. You can double if you're short in the opener's suit and ask partner to bid his long suit. And your partner needs to remember that when you are balancing, that you have most likely borrowed some points from his hand and respond accordingly. If you do bid one no trump in the balancing seat, most pairs play that statement and transfers, or what we call systems, are on. So if it goes a bid like a blueberry, pass, one no trump, pass, two blueberries, might be stamen. If the opener opened one club, pass, one no trump, pass, two clubs isn't a Q bid. It would be stamen in that situation. So remember that your systems are on there, and don't get confused if you see a repeat bid there. Transfers are also on. The double may mean, though, if you double, if you have a regular no trump opener, if bidding one no trump shows 11 to 14, then you have to start with a double and then bid no trump at the cheapest level to show that 15 to 17 point hand. So it's a special case of bidding or doubling in that balancing seat. It takes nerve. You want to take a deep breath and do it. The first time you do it, you'll be scared to death, thinking, what am I doing? I don't have enough points to bid, but I'm bidding. Well, if your partner passed and the responder passed, well, if the responder passed, particularly if the opener bid one club, he doesn't have 6 points. If you don't have an opening hand, there's a really good chance that your partner has values, but he had no suitable bid. So that's the way you take advantage of the fact that partner may not have had the right shape for a takeout double. He may not have had a 5-card suit to overcall, or he may have 10 or 11 points and just no bid available. And if you're sitting there with 10 or 11 points, then you have as many points between you as the opener and the responder. Their points are just a lot more unbalanced because responder did not act after his partner opened. So it is very seldom winning bridge to let the opponents play at a low level. It doesn't always work out when you bid in the balancing seat, but over the long haul, you will be better off not to let them sit there, particularly when opener has bid one heart, say, and responder says 2 hearts, and then it goes pass. The person who's sitting in that pass out seat should be thinking to himself, they've found an 8-card fit in a major suit, but they've stopped at the 2 level. If you let them play in their nice little 8-card fit at the 2 level, you are very seldom going to get a good result. When the opponents have found a fit and they've stopped bidding, that generally means they have about half the points in the deck. If they have half the points, you have half the points. You may be looking at your hand that has 8 or 9 points in it, but particularly if you have 4 spades in your hand, it's a really good idea to double. Maybe partner has 4 spades also, and you can take the contract for 2 spades. Maybe you can't take the contract, but you drive the opponents 1 level higher, and they don't have the values to be at the 3 level, and you set them. That's a whole lot better than letting them play 2 hearts making. 110 is a score that you don't often want to let the opponents have. Now, sometimes it's right. And we'll get into that here in just a minute. But that is a brief summary of what we talked about last week. Now, what you want to balance after the opponents have found a low-level fit, unless you have length and strength in the opponent's suit. And I gave some examples here on page 11. Something like, say, you have 3 or 4 points in the opponent's suit and 3 or 4 cards. That means that maybe you have the advantage there, especially if you have 4 trumps in your hand with 2 honors. Too many of your points and too much of your length is taken up in the opponent's suit. And so it makes it difficult to bid or double in that situation. If you can support 2 suits, double for takeout. In the balancing seat, it's okay to double for takeout when you can support only 2 of the 3 suits. If you have 4-4 in the minors, at least 4-4 in the minors, bid 2 no trump. That cannot possibly be a natural bid because you passed the first time. In that situation, in the balancing situation, 2 no trump says, partner, I have the minor suits, and sure as I choose one, I'll choose the wrong one. You tell me which is your better minor suit. So let's talk about some examples here now, since we kind of briefly reviewed what we went through last week. Here's that example. North opens a heart, south bids 2 hearts. Now we have 2 passes, and it comes back around to east here, holding 9 high card points. He doesn't have 4 spades, which, he says, well, that's not the fate worse than death. I don't really have the right shape for a takeout double, but I suspect my partner might be short in hearts because I have 3 of them. They found a fit and they've stopped at the 2 level. I don't want to let them play 2 hearts. I really, really don't. So east doubles, and lo and behold, of course, west bids 2 spades. And you may or may not buy the contract for 2 spades. Note that it's going to be a 4-3 fit. That's not ideal, but it's not impossible. And if you go off one trick at 2 spades, and your opponent's won 10 making, and you give them 50 or 100, you're ahead of the game, even though you didn't make the bid. The object is not necessarily to make the bid. It is to give the opponents fewer points than they'd have gotten if you allowed them to play the hand in their low-level contract. So West bids 2 spades. He thinks his partner has 4 spades. He may be a little disappointed when he sees only 3, but he'll get over it. South may bid on. It'll be South's turn to bid again. North says, I've told my whole story here. I have a minimum hand with 5 hearts in it. So it's up to South to bid on or pass here. Here's another example. All right. North opens a spade and South bids 2 spades. Pass, pass. Once again, East says, well, I have 8 high card points. I have only 2 spades, so, and I do have 4 hearts. I think I should double for takeout. Maybe my partner will have 4 hearts with me. Of course, he doesn't. He doesn't have 4 hearts. Instead, he bids clubs. Now, here is something that a lot of people may have heard of, but are not terribly familiar with. This is called equal level conversion. West bids 3 clubs, and East says, I had support for 2 suits, and of course you bid the one that I didn't have. I'm going to bid my 5-card suit now because I know you don't have 4 hearts. If partner had bid 3 hearts, East would pass. The key with equal level conversion is that you have the other major suit and that your minor suit, your longer minor suit is diamonds. It doesn't work if your longer minor suit is clubs, because now it's no longer equal if you convert partner suit to the next higher one. Diamonds is higher than clubs. This is called equal level conversion, and it does not promise a big hand like doubling and bidding a new suit does. But notice, East is a pass hand. He does not have the big double. He just says, partner, I only had support for 2 suits when I doubled. Since you didn't bid hearts, this is my minor. I hope you have at least 3 of them. In this case, West does. But even if he didn't, a 5-2 fit is okay. East's problem here is that he doesn't know but what partner has only 4 clubs, and he's a little worried about leaving him in clubs on what may be a 4-2 fit. 4-2 fits don't play well. I know that from experience. So believe me when I tell you, 4-2 fits don't play well. So this is called equal level conversion. East has doubled. He didn't like the suit that his partner bid. But in this situation, you double for takeout when you can support 2 of the 3 unbid suits. Now, here's another example, but this time it's not quite right to double here or to balance. 1 spade, 2 spades. Let's look at the East hand. He has half his points in the opponent's suit. He has a very nice holding in spades. This is a bad omen for balancing. You may be able to find a fit someplace, but you don't have 4 hearts. You have only 4 diamonds. This is a very flat hand, and you have significant strength in the opponent's suit. This makes balancing here maybe not the right thing to do. You would be forcing partner to the 3 level, and you should think long and hard before you balance with length or strength in the opponent's suit. Whoa, okay. Let's go back here.
Okay.
More examples here. This time North opens a club. East passes. South bids a heart. North rebids 2 clubs. South passes and West says, I don't think so. You know, you've got 6 clubs. I've got only 1, and I've got support for the unbid suits here. South bid a heart, so I don't have to count that one. I have support for the 2 unbid suits here. If my partner happens to have 4 spades, we maybe can play spades. However, East says, oh, I was afraid you were going to do that. I have hearts with Mr. South. I have the long clubs, but notice my hand doesn't have long enough clubs, and I don't have enough points to convert that double to penalty. It takes a much longer, stronger holding in clubs, even at the 2 level, and a better hand. And this is not a bad hand. Notice this is a 12-point hand here that East holds. He has 2 bullets and then 2 minor honors. This is not a bad hand at all. The problem is he doesn't have 4 spades. Whatever am I going to do? Well, I only have 2 spades, but I have 3 diamonds. So I bid the longer of the 2 unbid suits. Yeah, I don't like bidding a 3-card fragment, but leaving the double in for penalty doesn't look to be profitable. I know the declarer should have 6 of them. He doesn't have a 4-card major suit, or he'd have shown it. South has a minimum responding hand because he passed 2 clubs. North has a minimum opening hand. I have an opening hand too. So in this case, rather than pass and convert to double, he bids 2 diamonds. West double is entirely appropriate. He has good support for both unbid suits, and as it turns out, they're going to play the 5-3 diamond fit at the 2 level unless South or North bids again. Here's another example. This one shows the difference between support, finding a fit, and merely having the responder take a preference. Taking a preference does not show support. Remember, when you have a minimum hand and your partner bids a major suit and you have 3-card support, if you bid something else first and then take a preference to that major suit, you're promising only 2 cards. When you have a minimum hand and 3-card support for partners major, you don't mess around. You support the support immediately. So on this auction, we can be certain that South does not have 3 spades. If he had 3 spades, he needed to bid 2 spades right there. He doesn't. He bids no trump. If you play 2 over 1, that's a forcing 1 no trump, and North has to bid again. So he bid 2 diamonds. South now says, well, of your 2 suits, I like spades better, and it's almost always right to go back to the first bid suit unless you have 4 or 5 card support for that second suit. But here, East and West, these are the 2 hands here that we're not bidding. East and West should never confuse a preference with a raise. This bid of 2 spades is not a raise and does not show a 5-3 set. It promises only 2 cards because he bid 1 no trump first. I hope everybody sees the difference. This is not a raise. This is, now some people do use the 1 no trump forcing followed by 2 spades to mean a 6 or 7 point hand only with 3-card support, but 99 times out of 100, this sequence shows only 2 spades in the hand and a minimum responding hand. That's the way that works when you play 2 over 1. Now, what happens if you've taken a deep breath and you have balanced with a double, or you bid a suit, or you bid 2 no trump, asking partner to pick a minor? What do you do after your partner bids? Well,
before you move on, there's a question from Patty that doesn't know what 2 over 1 means.
2 over 1 is a bidding system that some people move on to after they have felt like they have learned standard American really well. It just means that a 2 over 1 response, like 1 heart, 2 clubs, it shows enough points by responder to force to gain. It just means when responder gives you a 2 over 1 response, it doesn't promise just 10 points. It promises a game going hand. And it's a modification of standard American bidding that many people utilize. Any other questions before we go on? Okay. How does the balancer rebid? Well, if you want to raise your partner who passed initially, remember, you need to have 15 or more points, a hand worth 15 or more points, because he's going to think that you have borrowed 3 points from his hand and should advance accordingly. So a raise by you shows 15 or more points in your hand. If you Q bid, that would show a good hand, but most likely or generally only 3-card support. This is a very good hand. This is a hand that might have bid the strong no trump doubled and then bid a no trump, but lacks a stop in the opener suit. Usually you're looking for a stop for 3 no trump when you Q bid. A rebid of 1 no trump after a balancing double. These are all examples of how you advance following a balancing double. Shows the regular 15 to 17 high card points and promises a stop in the opener suit and no fit for advancer suit. In other words, this is a hand that you would open 1 no trump in the first, second, or third seat. But in the balancing seat, 1 no trump shows only 11 to 14. So to show the 15 to 17 point no trump, you double first and then rebid no trump at the cheapest level. Well, what happens if my partner jumps a level after I doubled in the balancing seat? What does that mean? That shows 11 to 13 high card points. If he jumps a level, if you have almost any 13-point hand or better, you should probably bid game. This is another one of those examples of people get very upset when I point out that they may have used a takeout double inappropriately because they're not short in the opener suit when they have used the takeout double, and they come back with, but I have an opening hand. What am I going to do? Pass doesn't necessarily mean that you're weak. It just means you have no suitable bid at the moment. When you have a partner that you can rely on to balance, then you can wait and see what he does. You have a chance to come back into the auction. You don't have to make silly overcalls like a 4-card suit that's ace empty because you've got an opening hand. You can wait and see what happens as the bidding progresses. You may very well have the chance to come in on the second round of bidding. Remember, when your partner balances in the 4th chair following a bid pass, you know where all the points are in the hand. Responder doesn't have 6 points. He's very weak. It's unusual for a pair to get to game following a balancing bid, but it happens. It is entirely possible. So when the advancer jumps to 2 of a major suit, showing something resembling an opening hand himself, but just couldn't bid it, he probably has a 4-card major suit, couldn't overcall. Now, if you have any hand that has 13 or more points in it, just bid game if you have support, and you should have support. After all, you double. You can raise him a level with 12-ish points. Otherwise, you just pass. Remember, partner needs to bid as though he knows you borrowed a king from his hand. Now, if he jumped in a minor, remember, we don't want to play minors unless we absolutely have to. If you have a stop in the opener suit, you can bid no trump. Partner is showing you 11 to 13 points when he jumps in the minor. If you have about 12, you can bid 2 no trump, or with 11 or so points or 12 points. Otherwise, you pass, because it's not likely that you can make 5 of a minor, even if your partner jumps following your balancing double. It is very unlikely that you will have enough firepower to make 5 of the minor.
Susan?
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
What if you have passed twice and you're listening to their bidding, and now you come in and double? Would that be an indication of for penalty or for takeout at this point?
Well, most of the time, if it's in the balancing seat, it's for takeout. Now, these agreements vary from partnership to partnership. I have doubled a 3-level part score following 2 passes by me. My partner even bid, but I had 5 cards with 3 honors in the opponent's suit, and I just kept passing. And then I jumped in with a double. That was for penalty. That's a different situation from a true balancing double. And this requires some discussion between the partners. Some partnerships say all doubles are for takeout if they're below game level. If I've passed twice, especially if the opponents have not found a fit, I'm thinking the double is for penalty. If they found a fit, though, and stopped at the 1 or 2 level, then the double should be takeout. It's very unusual to have a penalty double of a 1 or 2 level contract. A lot depends on the level, Janet. And then a lot depends on your partnership and the basic philosophy that each of you has. How aggressive are you? How conservative are you in your bidding? No one answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. If advancer jumps to 2 no trump, showing a good hand here. I mean, if he can jump to 2 no trump, even knowing that you may have borrowed a king from his hand, if you have any decent 12 plus point hand, you just bid the game. It's possible for the person who balances and his partner, the advancer, to have a game. Just because one member of a pair opens the bidding doesn't necessarily mean the contract belongs to that side. It's rather unusual for an overcaller and his partner, or a balancer and his partner, to have a game. But sometimes you do. And you just have to be aware of what the jump means when the advancer jumps. If he jumps in the major, if you have a hand worth 13 or more points, bid the game. If he jumps in the minor, if you have a stopper in the opener suit and a good 12 points, bid 3 no trump. Remember, he has jumped to 2 no trump. And if advancer jumps to 2 no trump, promising the stop in the opener suit, if you have a decent 12 high card points, by that I mean not totally quacky, then you can bid 3. Now, what if I didn't double? What if I bid a suit and my partner raised? What happens then? Well, first off, you need to determine, were the opponents bidding or did your partner raise freely? If the opponents are bidding, you sometimes have to consider that partner may just be competing. In other words, your partner may be stretching to bid. Don't hang your partner when the bidding has been competitive and he raises. Don't hang him for being competitive. But if it was a free raise, then you can pretty well take it that he has good support for your suit. And then you would make a game try if you have a very good hand, just as you would in a non-competitive auction. We have not talked about game tries. That's something we might consider in the future. Basically, it's the bid of a new suit at the 3 level, saying, partner, I need help in this suit. I have enough to consider game, but I need some help here in this suit. Do you have it for me? And that would be a game try. You can make a game try just as you would when there's not been any competitive bidding. When partner Q bids after you have reopened in a suit, it could be one of 2 things. He either has a good strong raise for your suit, or he's looking for a stopper because he thinks you might have a no trump contract. You and your partner have to talk about what a Q bid means following a balancing bid. You never know whether your partner has a good hand in that second seat and just didn't have a suitable bid, or whether he actually has only 9 or 10 points or so. So you and partner have to talk about what happens if he Q bids there. Those of you who don't use Q bids don't have to worry about it because it isn't going to happen. But there are some who are listening today who do use Q bids. So this is an area that you might want to discuss with your partner. It doesn't come up very often. But as sure as you don't discuss it, it will come up tomorrow. I mean, at least that's the way my life works. Here's some more examples. This happened to be board 5 from Saturday morning, last August 7th. I try to take examples from our online games whenever I can. Notice the West hand here. North opened a club. He has an opening hand here. East passed. South passed with only 4 high card points. He passes. He does not have the values to bid here, even counting the 5th diamond. He does not have 6 points. Look at this hand that West has. Oh my goodness. He's got 17 high card points. Most everybody in the limited game bid 1 no trump with this hand. This hand is way too strong. If you count that 5th spade, this hand is worth 18 points. This hand is too strong to bid 1 no trump here. You start with a double. North Path has minimum opening hand, does not have anything else to say. He's told his whole story. Now, East doesn't like it, but he bids his longest suit here, bids a heart. Notice he has the same kind of hand that South does here. He's not thrilled to hear his partner double, but he cooperates, bids a heart. Now the bidding comes back around to West again. He does not have heart support, but he definitely has the clubs pretty well in hand here. And if he is playing 1 no trump, the lead is going to come up to his hand. So he rebids 1 no trump, saying, partner, my hand was too strong to overcall 1 no trump in the balancing seat. If he bids 1 no trump, it shows 11-14. Note that East would transfer to hearts and then drop with these few points, if that's what he had done, showing 11-14. Here he can leave it in. He has bid hearts already, and partner bid 1 no trump anyway. Everybody passes following 1 no trump. And West has a good chance to make it. East has just about enough for him to be very successful. He has a chance to get to the board, particularly if North leads a club here, and that's probably what he will lead because that's his longest suit. And he can take a trick on the board and immediately take a spade finesse. The thing that West knows is where most of the missing points are. That's another advantage to playing a hand in the balancing seat here. You know where the points are, particularly when the responder did not bid. So 1 no trump by this fellow here would work out for you if you bid that here in this case. But if your partner happens to be sitting on a decent 10 points over here, then you may miss a game. If you agree that 1 no trump is 11-14, and you fail to double and bid 1 no trump when you actually have the 15-17, then partner will know that you have enough for game somewhere. But if you just bid 1 no trump in the balancing seat showing 11-14, when partner's holding a 10-pointer, you don't want to be in game. 24-point no trump sometimes makes game, but not often enough that you want to be there. So remember, when you are sitting in the balancing seat here like West is, and you have a typical 1 no trump opening, double first and then bid no trump at the cheapest level. All right, let's try another one. East bids a spade. South and West both pass. North says, yeah, I don't think I want to sit still for that. It's not winning bridge to let East play 1 spade here. I have really no defense against spades. So he doubles in the balancing seat. East says, well, not if I can help it. 2 spades. I have a 6-card suit. I don't mind rebidding it because I've got a very nice hand here. Well, South says, hey, I don't have an opening hand, which is what bidding 2 diamonds over 1 spade would indicate. I see a lot of you overcalling 2 diamonds in this kind of situation. Overcalling requires more points when it's done at the 2 level than responding at the 2 level does. You can respond at the 2 level with 10 high card points. If you're going to overcall at the 2 level, you need a full opening hand. A 2 level overcall is completely different from a 1 level overcall. For one thing, your partner hasn't bid yet. So if you're going to bid for the first time at the 2 level and you don't have 6 cards in your suit and you can't jump, you bid 2 diamonds here, you need a full opening hand. This is a nice 10-point hand, but your partner hasn't bid yet. You should not overcall with 10 points here, even as lead directing. Good opponents will double you when you pull stunts like that. They'll figure out that you do that and you'll get cracked way too often. So South passes the first time, even though he has a nice 5-card suit. He doesn't have the values to overcall at the 2 level. But now when his partner bids in the balancing seat, he says, hey, I've got a great suit here. Now my partner has doubled. I have 10 points and I have a doubleton heart. I have a 5-card suit. I know that East is a fairly strong hand. He bid 2 spades, even with no help from his partner, but I know West is very weak. My partner has a little something over there. He can't have too much in diamonds because I have most of the strength, but he has some values elsewhere or he would not have doubled. So a 3-diamond call here is your chance to get into the bidding, even though you weren't strong enough to overcall 2 diamonds. So many of the less experienced players think if you don't bid at your first opportunity to bid, that you're not ever going to get another chance. That simply isn't true. As these last couple of hands have illustrated here, sometimes you pass and wait to see what happens. If your partner held, say, the West hand instead of the North hand, would you want to be playing 2 diamonds with this? I don't think so. So remember, when you overcall at the 2 level, you should have an opening hand. I've told you here how to make this hand in 3 diamonds. It can be made. It's not easy. And that doesn't mean that inexperienced players shouldn't bid it. You gain experience by playing hands that require some thought. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be there. If you have questions, find somebody after the game is over and say, I think I should have made this, or could I have made this hand? And they'll help you. Most everybody will. All righty, here's another example. West opens a diamond here. I think you can see that this is definitely a 1-diamond opening. North passes and East passes. And South says, we're not going to let you play 1 diamond. Not at all. I'm just not willing to do that. So he doubles. Notice, this is a nice hand. This is a 17-point hand with a diamond stop. He's in the balancing seat, so he does not bid 1 no trump. He starts with a double. West says, well, I told my story. I'm passing. North says, 2 clubs. This is my longest suit, partner. East passes again. He has absolutely nothing. And now South completes the picture of his hand by bidding no trump at the cheapest level. 2 no trump. North says, oh, well, I have 9 high card points and I have a 5-card suit. I'm going to take a chance on the game. All right. Fantastic. We're going to play 3 no trump here. And there are 8 tricks off the top. You just have to figure out where you're going to get your other one. So what you need to do, the description is down here. You guys can read this as well as I can. I put this in here so that you can see an example of how to get to a 3 no trump game and what you need. This hand has 17 high card points in it. The South hand does. So it's too strong to bid 1 no trump in the balancing seat when that would indicate 11 to 14. A maximum opposite a 9-point hand is probably going to be successful 65% of the time or thereabouts. Here's another example. East opens, let's see, 1 spade here. Notice this is an opening hand, but it's not wonderful. It's the dreaded 5-3-3-2 and it's aceless, but even so, it's an opening hand and 1 spade is what should hit the table. Look what South has here. How many of you would be tempted to double here if your right-hand opponent opened a spade? He's got 6 spades in his hand. He has as many or more than East does. But remember, double is for takeout at the 1 level here. So South has to pass. He has a great hand, but he can't bid no trump because he's got this stinky little singleton diamond here. This does not qualify for a 1 no trump overcall because the hand is in no way balanced. He has to pass, sitting there holding 17 high card points and a 6 card spade suit because his very annoying right-hand opponent opened 1 spade in front of it. Wes says, well, I'm glad you guys can bid. I can't. And now North says, no, I have a singleton spade and I've got 9 points here and a 6 card suit. I don't have a bit of problem bidding 2 diamonds in the balancing seat here. I'm going to borrow 3 points from my partner's hand, call this an opening hand, and bid 2 diamonds. East passes. This, as I said, he doesn't have a wonderful opening hand. And now South says, oh, you have diamonds? You have diamonds? I have everything else, including the spades. 3 no trump. This is why you don't have to double 1 spade in the direct seat. When the hand belongs to your side, if you trust your partner to balance appropriately, you don't have to make a bid that doesn't describe your hand well in this seat. This is the way partners have to learn to work together. They have to learn to trust each other to balance when it's appropriate so that you don't make silly bids when you're sitting in the direct seat. If you bid 2 spades here, that's a Michael's Q bid saying I have 5 hearts and 5 of an unnamed minor. If you double, it's for takeout and partner will bid diamonds. I don't know about you guys, but if I were to double with a hand like this, my partner would bid diamonds. He will never bid hearts or clubs or anything else that I might have. I know he doesn't have spades because my right-hand opponent opened a spade. I know where 11 of the 13 spades are. My partner may not have any spades. So my only option here is to pass. It isn't easy. But when you look at your hand and you say, there isn't a bid, then put the green card on the table. Sometimes it's the best bid in the box. And in this case, it definitely is. Here's another one. West opens a heart. North passes. He has 9 high card points, but no 5 card suit, so he passes. East is very weak and must pass. And now let's look at the South hand. Here's a hand that bids 1 no trump in the balancing seat. It has 13 high card points in it that fits right into the 11 to 14 point range. Now, North knows that when South bids 1 no trump and doesn't double first, that he has that 11 to 14 point range. With 9 points, we don't bid 2 no trump. When your partner bids 1 no trump in the balancing seat, you need to add about 3 points to all your ranges for inviting, for bidding stamen, all that stuff. So 9 points there after partner has balanced with 1 no trump is not enough to invite your partner to game. When you have 9 points and your partner has bid 1 no trump in the balancing seat, you have to pass. This is not going to be easy, but it can be made. I've described here how to do it. There's a term here, the obligatory finesse, that I've explained. It just means that you're hoping that the ace is doubleton and that you can play low from both hands, and one of the opponents will have to play the ace rather than using one of your honors to force the ace. That's probably going to be a new term to a lot of you, but it's worth learning. It can save you tricks many, many times when you need them. I have a bunch more. The rest of these are basically examples. And this one shows how Wes rebids. Does anybody have a question before I go on? Anybody? Nope. Okay. West opens a diamond, north passes, east passes, and south.
Where are you going?
Balances with a heart.
You gotta go.
Patty,
West says, well, my partner didn't bid, but I've got a nice hand and I've got 6 diamonds in there. It's a great suit. I'm going to bid 2 diamonds. Now, it promises 6 cards in his suit and extras with a minimum opening hand he passes. But in this instance, he's not willing to sell out to 1 heart by South. His hand is good enough that he can bid 2 diamonds. North says, well, hey, I like hearts. I have 3 card support and 8 points. I'm going to bid hearts. 2 hearts. He says, you have 6? Well, I have 3. That means we have 9 between us. I'm going to compete to the 3 level. And here we have a shootout. East bids 3 diamonds. And South says, well, I'm short in diamonds. My partner had support for my hearts. I think my hand is worth more than I thought it was initially now that my partner has support for me. And look at this. I have the King, Queen, Jack, 10. I mean, that's a quality suit. I'm going to bump my hand evaluation up a point or 2 now that my partner has supported me, and I am not going to sell out to 3 diamonds. I don't have much defense against 3 diamonds. They're going to pick up this singleton king without too much problem because the diamond bidder is on my list. So he bids 3 hearts. Here's the explanation of how the play should go in order for South to make 3 hearts. I'm not going to run through that here. You guys read it. Let me know if you have any questions. If you know the bottom line on this particular explanation is when you know that a finesse won't work, don't take the finesse. If you know it won't work, look for your tricks someplace else. Okay. Now, how about if I have a suit to bid in the balancing seat, but I have more than that 11 to 13 or 10 to 13 points that I might need to bid it in the balancing seat. Here, East opens a club, South passes, West passes, and look at this North hand. He has 6 spades. He has 14 points and 6 spades. This is a good hand. This is not weak in the 4th chair. Remember, there are no preempts in the 4th seat. There's nobody left to preempt. So this is not a weak bid. It should show a hand somewhere between 14 and 16 points overall, and promises 6 cards in the suit. In other words, it's like opening in the 4th seat with 14 to 16 point hands and 6 spades. You never bid 2 spades in the 4th seat and have it be weak. There's nobody left to preempt. Any 2-level bid in the 4th seat should not indicate weakness. It should show a good hand with 6 cards in it when it's a jump. South says, oh my goodness, I have 4-card spade support from my partner. He has 6. I also have 10 high card points. He has somewhere between 14 and 16 or thereabouts. I have shortness in diamonds, gives me 11. I think it's worth a shot. 4 spades hits the table. Now, East West are going to start by taking the ace and king of hearts and getting the heart ruff. And it goes from there. Obviously, North and South have 10 trump between them, so they only need to draw twice. Poor North. This is with this ace king doubleton, you're just virtually certain that you know where the king of diamonds is. virtually every other card in the deck has to be in the east hand. So you have to decide here basically how to make this hand, which finesse to take. And the bottom line on this one is that you never take two finesses when you only need one of them. The other one becomes a practice finesse. And if somebody tells you you've taken a practice finesse, it's not a compliment. Okay. It means you took one that you shouldn't have taken. You didn't need to. On this hand, North opens a club and South responds a heart, and North rebids two hearts. A classic, we found a fit and stopped at the 2 level. East and South pass, and here West is looking for support from either minor suit. If he chooses one, it won't be the right one. You know, partner may have better diamonds. He may have 5 diamonds and 2 clubs or some such thing like that. In this situation, 2 no trump. Notice West has passed twice here. Now when he bids 2 no trump, this says, partner, I have at least 4 cards in the minor suits. You pick. Now, East says, well, diamonds are my better suit. I'm bidding 3 diamonds. South says, oh, no, you don't. My partner has supported me, and I'm going to bid 3 hearts. If you notice, when you look at this hand, East-West having driven north-south to the 3 level is a big win for them because they can't make 3 hearts. But notice that East-West is going to have a really hard time making 3 diamonds. This is a part score hand. And when it's a part score hand, that sometimes means that both sides can go positive if they're allowed to play the hand at the 2 level. But once East and West force north-south to the 3 level, they can no longer make the bid. They can make 2 hearts, which would be 110. So even if East-West go set a trick or 2 at 3 diamonds, assuming they're not vulnerable, they're ahead. Maybe they give them 50 points instead of 110. That's a win for them. If North-South bid 3 hearts, they have turned a positive into a negative. Another win for East-West. Sometimes the people who bid first and who find a fit end up in a no-win situation. This is why balancing can be so profitable and why a lot of experienced pairs have the motto that nobody plays below 2 spades. If the opponents have found a fit and they're playing in the 2 level and it's below 2 spades, by golly, one of us is going to bid something. We are not going to settle for that. It works out more often than not. Does it ever happen that you go for a number? Of course it does. I mean, this is the real world. Nothing works 100% of the time. But you will be ahead if you can learn to do this. Notice how North-South just can't win in that previous situation.
Susie.
Yes.
Susie has her hand up.
All righty, Miss Susie.
The Easy Bridge book says in the very first chapter, I think of Easy Bridge 2, that anytime there's a part score bid, the defense should lead trump. What are your thoughts on that?
Sometimes that's a really good idea. A lot of times for part scores to be successful, you need to rough some losers from declarer's hand in the short trump hand. And so it's often advantageous to take trumps off the table, particularly if you don't have any other suitable lead. We'll get into opening leads here. There are so many subjects to discuss, but particularly if you can figure out from the bidding that you need to defend passively, but say you have 2 or 3 kings in your hand, underleading a king is a very aggressive lead. That's the way you defend when you're defending aggressively. So in that instance, if you have 2 or 3 small trumps, you might want to lead a trump rather than underleading one of those kings if you think passive defense is called for. Very often, this is a very good lead against a part score contract. And it's sometimes troubling to people because I think, well, if my partner has a trump on her, I'm just going to finesse it. Well, remember, you're not doing anything that the declarer can't do himself. He can go to the board and lead through your partner's trump holding, just like you can. You're not doing anything that the declarer can't do himself. So when it's right to lead a trump, it can be really right, especially when it's a part score contract and maybe the declarer is playing in his second suit. That nearly always calls for a trump lead. So it's often a very good idea, particularly when you don't have the experience to see when something else is needed. Good point, Susie. Thank you. Okay, here's another example. Here we've got 1 spade by east, south passes, west bids 2 spades. North passes, east passes, and south says, I don't care. I've only got 8 points, but I've got a singleton in the spade suit. Maybe my partner will bid hearts and we can take this and maybe just go down 1 or 2 tricks and not let them make 2 spades. So he doubles, being short in spades and having, notice this is a perfect double for takeout. He has 4 card support for all the unbid suits. He says, I don't think so. We have a 9 card fit here in spades. I'm not letting North get anything in here. I'm not letting him give any information to his partner. I'm bidding 3 spades because I know we have 9 trump between us. Now, North and South don't gain anything by competing over 2 spades. But you never know. Somebody sitting in the east chair or west chair may not have ever heard of the law of total tricks, or they say, well, you know, I've only got 8 points and I've already raised. I've told my partner everything I can about my hand. And so they don't compete over 3 diamonds. So 3 spades might go off some other day. On this particular day, it makes. But the issue is not whether you were successful. You did your job. You drove them to the 3 level. That's your job. Once you have done that, when you've balanced, you let them play there. You don't keep telling your same old story over and over and over. South has told his story. He doesn't need to bid again. All right, let's look at this one. 1 diamond by east, 1 heart by west, and 2 hearts by east. South passes and west passes. I mean, after all, he has 9 points, but whoa, this is an ugly hand. That's 4, 3, 3, 3, and there's no roughing value. I would subtract a point from the value of my hand immediately if I held this one. But North says, you know, I have a 6 card spade suit here, but it was nowhere near good enough to overcall at my first chance to bid. If I overcall this the first time it's my turn to make a call, my partner's going to lead spades, and he might have a way better lead than a spade because I can't take any. I'm probably not going to take any spade tricks when we're defending. But when it comes around to his second turn to bid, because the auction is dying at a low level, now it's entirely appropriate to bid this spade suit. Bidding this way indicates that your suit wasn't good enough to overcall at your first opportunity. But when the auction threatens to die at the 2 level, when the opponents have found a fit, you can take all kinds of liberties with suit quality when you have already passed once. This basically says, I have spades. Doesn't say anything about how good they are or anything else. It just says, I'm willing to compete. with spades as trumps. My suit really isn't very good because I didn't bid spades at my first opportunity. The East says, no, I've got good values in spades and I'm relatively short. I'm going to bid 3 hearts. Now, South, notice that South has a ratty club suit here. He might want to bid 2 clubs over that 1 diamond opening. He has 11 points, but this is an awful suit. There are different standards for overcalling than there are for opening. When you overcall, you have a good 5-card suit, because one of the things that's going to happen is that your partner is going to lead the suit that you bid. And you need to have some values in it. If he had a better lead available to him and he did not choose that lead because you bid a suit and he wants to be a good partner, then all of a sudden his trust level with you is not going to be very good. Remember, the number 1 rule in bridge is keep your partner happy. If you overcall trash, your partner gets off to a poor lead, and you don't have success, his level of trust with you is going to take a serious hit. Trust in a bridge partnership is just as important as it is in any other relationship. So be careful what you overcall. Be careful. It pays to have standards. Now I'm going to click down here to number 27 here. In summary, when a fit's been shown and they've stopped at a low level, like a part score 2 level, balancing should be very attractive to you. If they have a fit somewhere, you probably do too. Now, you want to balance with a suit bid unless you have a lot of secondary strength in the opponent's suit. If you can support at least 2 suits, double for takeout. Now, if your partner takes a deep breath and is brave and balances, help out as much as you can to help him find the best trump fit. If the opponents do go on to the 3 level, it is usually best to say, we've done our jobs here. We pushed them out of the part score level up into the invitational level. And my partner bid the values he thought I had when he balanced. Remember, he didn't bid at his first opportunity, or if it was his first opportunity, the auction was going to die. And if he bid at the cheapest level possible, he probably bid your hand for you too. So when you have forced the opponents to the 3 level, then let them have it. You know, there's a saying in bridge that the 5 level belongs to the opponents when you're competing in game contracts. Well, the same can be said for 3 level contracts when the hand will only produce a part score. When it's a part score hand, the 3 level generally belongs to the opponents. Now, advancer should add 2 points to all his point ranges when you are advancing following a balancing bid. Do it the same way you would if partner overcalled, except add 2 points to all your point ranges. That will help you and help you stay out of trouble. When advancing a 1 no trump balance, you're going to need more than 8 points to use Stamen, because that 1 no trump balance shows only 11 to 14. And then advancer needs to remember to add 2 to 3 points to the number that he needs to bid Stamen or to invite game. Transfers are still acceptable with no points at all. So remember that if the opponents have not shown a fit, it is very risky to balance. If they don't have a fit, you probably don't either, and the hand is a misfit. Never, ever, ever confuse a preference with a fit. When you end up balancing in these kinds of situations, that's the source of a lot of penalty doubles. And you end up wishing, you say, oh, this balancing thing doesn't work. The skill that you have to develop is to remember that you balance when they have shown a fit. When they have not shown a fit, you really, really need to carefully accept or assess the risk. Now, there's a short quiz here that follows most of this. If any of you have any questions about it, email me. It's time for me to stop. And as I said, we're going to take up something new next week. And don't forget to let me know what you'd like for me to talk about. I have a lot of slide sets, but I can always make more if I need to. So thanks for coming, everybody, and happy Mother's Day.